Whole screen. Should be recording. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to re-import all the photos I just showed you guys. So for you guys who are on hold with the import, all right, a couple of you guys are on hold with the import. I'm going to show you what to do. Kind of follow along. So, Javier, you're watching up here. I'm going to click the import button. And you are going to navigate to wherever you saved those photos at. So in this case, mine are on my drive in this folder. All right. So you're navigating to the same, wherever you saved them at. All right. You already got them up. We're working on getting them up over there. You're downloading them. All right. So watch the screen for the moment being until you get them all downloaded. All right. So what we're going to do is, remember, guys, we have our options on what we want to do with the photos. We have a copy option, a move option, and an add option. What do those options do? Well, give me an example. Yep. So move takes them off wherever they are and puts them where you're going. What does add do? Halfway. Keeps them there, so keeps the files wherever they are in whatever folder they are, but just adds them to the catalog. Okay, so adds them into Lightroom. Go ahead, you have confused look. Mm-hmm. Yes, it will make a new copy of the file. Now, copy is pretty much only going to be used for when you're importing from an SD card, because it will copy them from the SD card onto your computer into the catalog. All right? That's pretty much the only time I can think of when you're going to use copy. Most times you're going to use move. If you have the files living on your computer already, like you do, like most of you guys have them living somewhere, you're going to want to move them into that file structure we talked about last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. Okay? Add, the only time you want to use add is if you already have your files living in a very organized file structure and you want to keep that file structure. Most of you guys, that's not going to be the case because, well, I've seen your file structures. Not the case. All right. So all of my photos here are selected with my little checks. I am going to do move just to kind of move them. I'm going to move them from one folder to another just to make an example here. So this is really annoying. So remember, file handling, we're not doing anything here. Renaming files, we want to make sure we are renaming our files to match our name, date, unique number system. So in my case, it's going to be something like this, _ date in the year, month, day fashion. So year is 15, month is 01, day is 27, _ unique number, and that's going to be either the camera's number, a sequence number, your choice. Okay? So in this case, I have it set up as year, month, day. I think this is set up as a sequence number, and it says untitled right here because I need to type in my name. Oops, spell it right. All right, you can adjust these under edit here. Most of you guys should be cool with that at this point, right? Couple head nods. Okay. You want to rename upon import, okay? Now, most of you guys should have saved this setting should already be saved in your catalog. If you opened up an old catalog or catalog we made a couple weeks ago, it should be in there already. If you're making a new catalog, you're going to have to create this. All right, you can come into edit. Remember, here's the edit option, custom text, date, file number, suffix. That's the camera number. You can change all of this and customize it and just hit done, and it's going to save it. All right, so up to that point, we're reviewing. All right, that's pretty much review. Apply during import. So we talked a little bit about this last time, and there's a couple things you can do here. Development settings, those are those presets we talked about. Probably don't want to apply any of those on import unless you know you're going to be turning all these black and white or some kind of sepia or whatever. However, you can apply keywords on import that apply to all of the images that we're looking at. Okay, so for instance, All of these pictures are vacation pictures for me. I might want to add the keyword vacation. All right. Now, there are also pictures of Mexico. I don't love adding locations in keywords, but sometimes it's not a bad thing to do. All right. There's other places to add that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So those are what are called, and we talked a little bit about this a little while ago, bulk keywords. Okay, bulk keywords can be added when you're importing a whole bunch of images that have the same thing. So another example, you go do a model shoot, you bulk add the model's name in part of the keyword. You can also bulk add the model's name in some of the metadata. So under metadata right now, it says none. This is where we want to create a new preset. This is going to be new for all of you. All right, we didn't talk about this last week. So for you guys who have not imported images yet, you're going to want to do this. For you guys who have imported images, you're going to want to do this the next time you import images, or create it now and add it to all of your images. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to go with new. And what this is going to do is going to pop up a dialog box that shows me all of the possible metadata that I can enter on an image. All right. So as much metadata as I can enter up there, but you have to be mindful that this particular metadata has to apply to every single photograph that you are going to import into your catalog. Okay. So what does that come down to? Your name, your address, contact info. Is that what you said? Contact info, camera info. That could change because you could be using different cameras. Plus, also that camera info is going to come in under that bulk, or excuse me, that auto metadata. The camera already puts it on there. So we want to make sure that this is set to be. You can put your copyright in too. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. You can put your copyright in. So basically, you're going to want to start down here with copyright, and copyright is Option G. To make the copyright symbol, Option G, and then put your name, copyright status, copywritten. And then for those of you guys who've taken business with Meg, you can put rights terms in here, usage terms, all that good stuff. All right, I'm not going to go over that because she goes over that in business, but you can also put your website here if you want so people can contact you. So then from there, you're going to put your creator information, me. Your address. Now, if you don't want to put your address on these, I understand that. I'm not going to put my address on here because I don't want you fools all knowing where I live. All right. But if you don't feel like putting your street address, at least put the city you live in. Okay. You can put your phone number. Not going to put mine up there, but you can put your phone number in there. Basic. Huh? That's why I don't need text at 2 in the morning. Put your phone number in there, though, because nobody's going to see this unless they really go looking for it, okay? I'm obviously broadcasting it out to you guys right now by craziness here. But, you know, if somebody wants to find you and it is ethically found your image in some way, shape, or form, this is a legit way for them to get a hold of you, okay? So at least, you know, if you're not comfortable putting your email or your phone number, at least put your email address and that kind of stuff. Website. How do I get here? You're going to go to under develop, apply during import. You're going to go to meta. You got it? You with me? Okay. So you can put job title in here. Now, beyond this one IPTC, and IPTC is a schema, a metadata schema. We talked about those a little earlier. Beyond IPTC creator, you're probably not going to enter a whole lot of information in here. Okay, now here's examples. We have IPTC extension models. You can add the modeling agency, the model's age, their disclosure information in here. You're not going to want to do this upon import. Why? Well, not only that, but more so, this doesn't apply to every single photo. This falls under, what we're trying to do right now is to set up a preset that falls under bulk metadata. Model, name, age, all that jazz would fall under higher metadata that you are going to apply to individual images. Okay? Does that make sense? So right now we're trying to set up as kind of almost generic preset with our contact information. But if you guys kind of scroll through, look at this. This is all the information that you can put into your specific on a specific image. Okay, so every image can have this. Date created, that's going to come in with the auto metadata, all right, from your camera. City, now this is probably where I would want to enter the city where I was, as well as state of providence and or country, Mexico. Ideally, you want to enter it in here. I don't want to create it in my preset though, because not every picture I've taken is from Mexico. I wish. All right, country, ISO country code, you can put that in there as well. One thing you do want to make sure that is set up is camera info. Make sure on your camera your GPS is turned on. If you have GPS setting on your camera, you don't want to add it in here because then I have to like look up the coordinates. That's another way of adding location. So if your camera has GPS, set it up, turn it on, make sure it works, because then that GPS will become an auto metadata feature. Okay, and you can use the cool map that Lightroom provides. So once I have this all set up with mostly my copyright information, my name, and my contact info, I'm going to save this as my name. How do I spell my name? There we go. Something like that. Something that I will use this every time I import my images, okay? So when you guys go ahead and create your own catalogs, what we do kind of the next part of the project, so we were just talking about that, Mikey, when you're ready to create your own catalog, you're going to want to make sure you do this and you check that every time you import images, okay? So that way you're not going back and doing it every single time you need to export an image or something like that. And this is, in my opinion, a little easier than Bridge because you have that preset. You can just apply it right away. You don't have to go in, select all the images, type it in, and hit save or whatnot. And it doesn't create an XMP file that could be lost. So I'm going to hit create. And it's just going to say under here metadata, and I have a drop down. So you can make different ones. Like if you know you're shooting with model, whatever a lot, you can make a preset with her name in there. And then you can just choose that preset. So you can have more than one preset. But your first preset, as far as the metadata goes, should be relatively generic. Okay, does this make sense? Everybody with me so far? So that's the only thing really that's been different than what we've already talked about. Here's our keywords. Destination, we're going to make sure we're choosing the folder we want it to go into. So if we're moving files, we're going from one folder location to another folder location. You're going to want to make sure, and Javier, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to make sure you choose whatever folder you want to put your files in. So a folder in your pictures maybe, just title it photos or something like that. And make sure you're using this organize by date option because it'll say 2014 and then it will organize each folder out by date so that the photos that are taken on that specific day are organized out by date. It sounds ridiculous, but it makes your life a lot easier down the road. All right. Now, if I have another camera I'm shooting with at the same time, I got two going. I'm a documentary photographer. I got two cameras going. That auto metadata is going to give the date to the file, and it's automatically going to be put in these folders when I import them. So you'll see the two camera images right next to each other in the folder. Olin just gave me this look like, yeah, that sounds good. But this shouldn't really matter because once you get the images in the folders, you really don't touch them. They stay where they are. You deal with them in the catalog. But it makes it a lot easier to just have that organized folder. So there's my organized folder. I'm going to move my files into this folder from basically the same folder and go from there. Go. Mm-hmm. That could be, you're going to want to go make sure, well, first off, make sure the time and the date are synced up on both cameras because that information automatically gets put on the photo. The next thing to do is when you're importing, I wouldn't change your file name to sequence. I would make sure you leave it as original camera number. That way you're not putting a sequence, you import camera number 1 and you got 1 to 100, and then you import camera number 2 and you got 1 to 100. All right. So you're going to want to organize them in that case by that date option, and then you're going to basically line them up in chronological time order. Okay, because that way camera 1 and camera 2 are going to intermingle with each other if you're going, camera 1, click, camera 2, click. it's going to be that timestamp is what's going to allow them to show up in order. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the camera names, but don't like your file names. All right, so kind of a good point, guys. If you're shooting with multiple cameras, your file name shouldn't change. It still should be OK, whatever you've chosen, OK3 underscore date underscore whatever for both cameras. Okay, because at that point, it doesn't matter really what camera it was shot with. It matters that it has that file name structure. Okay, so if you're naming them with different file names, that could throw things off. Does that make sense? Answer your question? Okay, just checking. All right. So once I have this all set up, go. What stuff? Right in here where it's all got this? Yes, you want them to go in the same place. So you're going to choose that same folder that you already have existing, okay? So mine is this folder right here. Take a look up here. This folder right here, my subfolder, it's going to automatically put them in here. All right. Now, if I were to give you guys new files from 2015, I'd still want to put them in this same folder. It would make a new folder called 2015 and lay out the files that way. Okay. So you're basically, your folder is like a bookshelf. All right, that main folder is like a bookshelf. 2014 is one book, 2015 is another book, and then the pages are the days. All right, does that kind of make sense? A little bit. All right, put them in the same folder, okay? You want them all going in the same place. When you guys start getting multiple folders with multiple files in multiple places, that's when problems occur, all right? I'm not kidding. It's one of those things that if you start putting things in all over the place, you lose files, you don't find them, you can't link back to them, it becomes problematic. All right, so I'm going to hit import, and that is going to take its time. Shouldn't take that long. Importing for you guys who are in the process of importing, go ahead and import your photos as long as you've added that metadata information, so copyright, location, so on and so forth. Yes, I want you to make your own preset. So for those of you who already have the files in there and you don't have that information on there, the copyright, the name, that kind of stuff. Maddie, watch up here for a second. What you can do is highlight all of your photos. So click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one, and under metadata, you just enter that stuff in, okay? Under here, and you made your own preset. So there you go, that works too. Make sure you highlight them all though, then make your own preset, and that way it should apply them to the image. You can put it under your name because after you guys do this, they're pretty much just going to get deleted. It's just for you guys to practice. Kayla, you have a question or are you just flailing or a question? Okay. Yeah, put your names in the preset, okay? So this is basically, especially you guys working on your own computers, put your name in the preset because, eventually you're going to use your own images and it'll be your own. So I already have it keyworded and all that jazz at home. This is for practice for you guys. All right, any questions about that? All right, I'm going to stop my recording.